next speaker is a programming enthusiast who loves C++, C#, and Unity. He has experience on different platforms like PC, Steam, Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, iOS, Android, Windows Store, Windows Phone, and WebGL. Among titles he released are Puzzle Soccer, Hitman Go, Ancient Space, and Med Riders, and others. Welcome to the stage, Mr. Kacper Kościeński.
Thank you very much. Welcome, and thank you for coming here. So today I'll be talking about RESTful and open authorization made in Unity, but some of it you can take to other engines or other technology you are using. So if you want, you have all the sources here and also this presentation. The license on the whole code is beerware license, so if you like it, you can buy me a beer someday. And I will talk a little bit about background and RESTful itself, open authorization, architecture, the app or game architecture when you are using them, and there will be some time for questions. So we already know that. Right now I'm working in Playsoft, and the most important thing is that we create a lot of games. Mostly on mobile, but also on WebGL and PC. And thanks to that experience, I created this implementation of RESTful, and it gave me this experience gave me possibility to choose, I believe, the correct path doing that. So this is the code I will show you. The solution I discovered is it will scale to small or medium-sized project. I don't know if it will be possible to use it on the biggest projects you can have. So if you are developing MMORPG, maybe you will use different solution. And as always, every programmer will tell you everything will be depending on the project, problems, your team, and so on and so on. So, few months ago, client approached us and said that he needs some application that will be connecting to the server. So we need to make a client-server architecture. And we needed to have a data change from client to in the server and from the server in the client, so everything could be changed based on the user or server-side logic. Most important, this was the project that was developed on Android and iOS, but there were some possibilities to port it to different platforms, so it had to be done in a way that it will be easy. We need to have easy authorization tool, so the user can, on the app, log in once, and then he doesn't have to log in many times. And this is my experience here. If you can, do not use plugins, only source code. Because on the mobile, when you're creating a multi-platform game or application, usually you will end up with a lot of plugins, and managing them in some point is very hard because of all branches on different platforms, even on same platform, but for different builds and so on. And it was not a multiplayer solution, but data solution. So there was no FPS and people shooting at each other, but there were some data between change it. So like chat, like buying, selling stuff, and so on. So, and the client had already a server with REST. So we used it. And it is very good solution. You can also make a multiplayer solution for using it, but not with a small latency. Basically, you can go with a REST server up to like 1 millisecond respond, depends on your project and so on. But it's not the best fast solution, but it's the best solution for data. And so the example of using REST is like get item with ID, and think of it as your transport layer in your product. So don't think that you will use it in your logic or gameplay or whatever. Just think of it as a transport. So you pack it in one place, you deliver it, unpack it, and so on. And the best for us was using JSON, because data were complex, composite, and had a lot of dependencies. And example of using JSON in RESTful solution is you get item with ID 8, and it will return you this JSON data. So everything is okay, but then we want to make it in Unity. And there is a problem. On mobile, there is no full HTTP classes from C# or .NET. There is no full support. And WW class from Unity supports only get and post requests. So, but you can add headers. There is some cheating there, I will show you later, but you can add them. So the solution used the override method on the server side. It's easy to add, and even if you're not using your own server, many RESTful providers allows this. The exact syntax may vary, but still you can use them. So, at the end, we use our own code. We were thinking about using plugins like Best HTTP or something similar. But thanks to this fast and really small implementation, we were not dependent in build time or anywhere else on the plugins. And I will show you this implementation. I will highlight you the key points. So, sorry. So you have simple method send, where you have some address, which kind of method you are using, your request. So this is maybe you will send some JSON or whatever, and you have a callback when everything is completed. And as you can see here, we add this XHTTP method override to the headers. And this is this cheat I told you before, that WW class does not allow adding headers to the GET request, But you can add them to the post request. So if you have no data to post, you just create almost empty table with no data. And then you use coroutine to get the result from the server. And if everything is okay, then it is returned to the caller. So as you can see, it's a really small solution, and it worked very, very well. So now I will talk about authorization. We used open standard for authorization, OAuth, and we used version 1.0. There is also 2.0, but there are some differences. And you can, from the client logic or gameplay logic, you can think about this as magic security stuff. And in the send method, you just add one header to the request. And everything is standardized in this RFC document. So this authorization have few basic topics. So you have client, server, protected resource, which is the resource you want to get from the server. And this open standard allows you to share resources between users. So think about this like you have two users, and one have a car, and the second user want to borrow this car. So you allow to share the resources between them. You have credentials, which is the pair of token and secret. And when you first time you are connecting to the server, you are asking for temporary credentials. You get them, and then you ask again for the actual credentials. The access token and secret is something you can store on your device, and later when you will call the server, you don't have to log in every time. And this standard can have three types of signature method. Plain text, which you don't want to use because of obvious reasons, security reasons. You have also RSA SHA-1 method, but the minus of this method is that the standard say that the key password and everything related is not transported by this standard. It has to be done externally. And you have HMAC SHA-1 method, and we use it. And as it came out, it is like 200 lines of code with login, with everything. And in the actual send method, you use only you add only headers here. If you can see it, I will zoom more. So you just add this header, and that's all from the RESTful point of view. From the open authorization point of view, there is a lot of going here, but it's standardized. There is, in the RFC document, there is explained what is happening where and when, So you can just read the standard and make the code. And now, I will talk about architecture, because it is the most important thing for us. Because those two layers, RESTful was just a transport layer, and open standardization was a security layer. And right now, I will talk how we use those layers to get data from the game to the server and from the server to the game. So we wanted that all this networking was done independent from the other subsystems. So for example, if you have UI, this UI don't know anything about networking. It just asks this network system, hey, give me some resource, and that's all. It doesn't know about RESTful, OAuth, and so on. So some subsystem will ask the network system, which will use these layers, and ask the server. And when the server will respond, then it will go to the network system. It will be processed then, and it will inform subsystem that this is your answer from the server. And we want to make this architecture ready for notifications, because right now, only with this RESTful approach, we have one-side communication, so we can only ask server for resources, do something with them, maybe modify them on the client or on the server. But if something happens on the server, like we add new data, then the client doesn't know it. So those are our goals. And the data itself, all data were wrapped in classes. And of course, if we use JSON for download or upload data, we can also use it for load save. And hint here for you, if you are downloading data from the server, you can make like cache and save it locally and just ask for the difference between the dates. You can use Unix timestamp, for example. So you are making requests with this timestamp, and server will only respond with the difference. And all data objects can be used across different subsystems. So for example, gameplay, UI, and so on. And to store all these data objects, we use managers. So think about managers as data storage. And I will show you example how we made the data. Oh, sorry. Okay, so you have a class, it is weapon class, you have some fields, and I made them read-only, so no subsystem can modify them. And we have a JSON reader which creates the new weapon object, and it is stored in the manager. So, we have the data, and what is our data flow in our application or game? So at the start of the application, the manager who is responsible for for those kind of data. Read it locally if you have safe or something like that. Ask network system for the difference, and network system is asking for server for a response. When the server responds, the network system tells the manager that data was changed. If you change the data locally, for example, user clicks a button or kills somebody or do whatever they need to do, then the change is going to the manager, and the manager is invoking that, hey, data changed, and all data users will notify the change. And if data user wants some exact data, like you have a player with a gun, and you just spawned him, and you know that he have a gun with ID 28. So he wants to know details about this gun. For example, damage or how many rounds he can have and so on. So this data user is asking manager. If manager have the data locally, then it just responds. But if this is needed, manager can ask network system and so on. So I will show you our approach to making such a system. So we have a collection of data in a in weapons manager class. So this is the data collection, and when we awake this manager, we download all the data. So we just ask network manager to get all the weapons, and if everything is okay, we call that something changed. And when something changed, the event is fired that, hey, weapons were changed. On the network code, you see that we are sending this information to the server with this path. We are calling get method. And then, when everything is okay, we read from the JSON what is the actual data. And here is just parsing JSON data. So, thanks to that, we also have all the features we need to change data locally, like, for example, we want to clear our data or set new data and so on and so on. So, notifications. For notification, use proper technology, and I am talking about local notifications, not the device notification like Google or iOS notifications, but your app notifications. And the reason for that is because the Google or iOS notifications can be delivered with some time too long. They can be delivered with too long time. And actually, your architecture is already made for it. Because when the notifications comes, you just tell this to manager, hey, weapons changed, ask the server about it. And when your manager is asking the network system and the server and so on, there will be some change in your collection. So manager will call all the data users that something changed. And I will show you a very simple example how this is working. So this is only UI, and we can simple download stuff, and you can see this project on the link I gave you. And all of those data are downloaded. And it is a very, very simple system, yet it was crucial to the app development. So, to summarize everything, RESTful is simple solution for data transport. Open authorization is not so simple, but still okay. You can write everything in like 2 days. So it is simple solution for authentication. And with this architecture, you can scale easily. Of course, there will be some problems at some level, and you can do a lot with them. Depends on the project and the problems you will have. But all the data are they don't know about your transport layer. So if you will change from RESTful to any other solution, your gameplay code will not be, there will be no impact on your logic or gameplay code. And that's all. Do you have any questions?
We still have time, so don't worry. If you have any questions, just raise your hand.
Hello.
Hello.
You said something about downloading data based on timestamps.
Yes.
That you can cover the topic about just sending the data from the server that are only a diff from
Yes.
the previous version. Could you cover some more information about this? It's
Yes.
a simple solution like, okay, we've got data from the 12 p.m. So there is new data from 12 and 5 p.m.
Yes, yes. So basically, all I talked about was the client side. On the server side, you have to implement logic for it. So basically, what we have done is add a parameter to the RESTful call with timestamp, I think, equals and timestamp, Unix timestamp, so seconds from the 1st January 1970. And then server processed this timestamp, and from this time to the right now time, generated data for the client. So there is a problem here. So if you have a lot of changes, then the changes may be bigger than the data itself. So that depends on your data, how much changes every day or every week or month and so on. You can create different lists in JSON, so for example, adds, remove, and so on. or you can add some switch in the response. So like, just take everything I am sending in and delete everything you have on your site, because there was so many changes that there is no need to, add or delete everything. Just this is the list you should have now. Or make different lists for every change and so on. There is a lot of stuff to do, but the most important thing in everything related to network is that you should minimize the network load. And that was the reason for it. You're welcome.
Anyone else?
Okay. So thank you. If you want to reach me, here is my email. This is this presentation link. Also, if you want to, you can visit our company site. And for the OAuth protocol RFC, here is the link. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kacper Kościeński.